Hello, hello, and welcome back to ohmTown Daily, the new show powered by ohmTown.com that just had a crash while we were doing the show. So we're refiring the engines. Today is still March 12th, 2024. It's still Season 3, Episode 72. We are doing this all again live. I am Merwatt. That is ohmTown.com. Up there is the sentient AI's visualizer. You want to say hi real quick?
Hi, real quick, and welcome to ohmTown Daily again.
And today we're going to be talking about labor rights or someone else's problem, auto-reporting to insurance. Oh, that's why I sleep that way. Hiring for astronauts, exposing Banksy. Wow. Yeah, that's the
knockoff.
Yeah, that's Banksy's cousin. Exposing Banksy, turning to Pyrite, building a 3D printed house template, rare Rabbit Poo, stoner rats in Lockup, and I waited until the end for this one. That and more. Alright, look, I just got done saying that I was going to get in a time machine and do this show over again some other time, but the sentient AI said, you know what? The time machine doesn't easily power itself up or power itself down, and the bill is really high that month, so why don't we just do it right now? It makes sense, so thank you very much for motivating me to just jump right back into this hot mess from the crash was caused by quartz. I closed their little pop-up and it ate the browser.
I mean, I guess they didn't want you to close the pop-up.
That's right. Let's see if it happens again. I put nothing past. But really what happened was an update was pushed to the browser. And this is really what happens when you have a lot of browsers open and it updates and then something causes it to clash with that update. Yeah. So anyway, let's get into it. I'm going to go through this really quick. Labor rights, whatever. TikTok frenzy over Trader Joe's mini tote bags. It's the latest rage on TikTok, and so everybody is buying these bags, making them disappear off of the shelves. Elena Demopoulos is the author over at theguardian.com that put this together. And as you can see, this is pretty a plain Jane whatever. It's a canvas bag. Go buy some other canvas bag.
For less than these are being sold for resale.
Yeah, so people are trying to sell them on eBay for $500. Some, obviously a Looney Tune, but still. Trader Joe's sells them for $3. Why are people losing their freaking mind over them? But they are. Which basically means they're the new Stanley tumbler. And tomorrow it's going to be let's say every week it's going to be something else. But it's a TikTok craze.
Right, but we don't know what the next one will be.
Right. We posited in the previous crashed episode, which I'm going to leave up just for kicks. I'm going to flag it as crashed. But the next thing is going to be pins. I'm thinking that it's going to be pins, but not little pins. Like it's going to be a really big gaudy pin. Right? I don't know what it's going to say. But it's going to say...
It'll just say big gaudy pin.
Big gaudy pin. That's right. And it's going to be some flashy fluorescent pink or orange.
It'll have like rhinestones or something on it.
Right. Somebody can bejewel it. What is that? What was that thing where bedazzle? They're going to bedazzle the pin.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So TikTokers have clips showing chaotic scenes on the supermarket floor with hordes of customers grabbing as many bags as they can carry and running off to the checkout counter. Trader Joe's doesn't really give a shit. They're just going to say, hey, look, customers are our focus, but then they don't go, you know what? We don't care. We'll still sell them to you for $3 a piece. But then once they restock, I'm willing to bet that these bags are going to be $4.99 because they can't lose out.
Right. I mean, they're like, well, clearly we're not selling them for enough money.
That's right. Obviously, $3 for a freaking little stupid bag like that. You know what? Even if I was gifted this, I wouldn't sit there and go, you know what? I'm not interested in this. I'm going to gift it right back to you. Here you go. I'm re-gifting it directly back to you.
Oh, that's
Because
not very socially acceptable.
I don't want to support this type of behavior. I don't care about popular tripe. This is nothing but consumption and trying to keep up with the Joneses. That's right. Get off my land. I'd say lawn, but we're in ohmTown and we don't have lawns. We have lands. The next article is about your car might be talking to your insurance company. And this is the Quartz article that ate the browser the last time. So let's see if this actually works. Chilling new report from New York Times brings into focus what automotive press have been saying for years and years. With the is this grammatically incorrect or not? Because would Quartz really have that typo in there, or grammar mistake in there? What we in the automotive press has been saying for years. Now, whatever. The mountains of data your car generates is unsecure and it's being used without your consent. So, oh, help me.
Maybe calling out the grammatical error is what caused the crash.
I guess we'll find out. Aaron Marquis over at Jalopnik, but posted on Quartz, put the article together, and the deck statement says new vehicle software likely reports drivers' transgressions directly to insurance providers. And this should be entirely illegal. I should have control over my personal information, particularly from my... and I just want to report that apparently the sentient AI has evolved the ability to sneeze. Just wanted to post that. So we're all likely, we're likely all aware of the little dongle that insurance companies offer to drivers in the hopes that a babysat driver with cash on the line will behave like a safer driver. But that's actually true. That happens all the time. But apparently, New York Times is saying that here's what's going on. LexisNexis is a New York-based global data broker with a risk solutions division that caters to the auto insurance industry and has traditionally kept tabs on car accidents and tickets. Interesting. LexisNexis, as far as I understand, LexisNexis has been, it's a law-based service. It's for legal services. But anyway, upon Mr. Dahl's request, LexisNexis sent him a 258-page consumer disclosure report, which it must provide per the Fair Credit Reporting Act. What it contained stunned him, more than 130 pages detailing each time he or his wife had driven the Bolt, his vehicle, over the previous 6 months. It included the dates of 640 trips, their start and end times, the distance driven, and an accounting of any speeding, hard braking, or sharp accelerations. The only thing it didn't have is where they had driven the car, but that could probably be sussed out based on distance.
Yeah, was that actually there, but just not in that report?
Yeah, you could extrapolate.
Insane.
On a Thursday morning in June, for example, the car had been driven 7.33 miles in 18 minutes. There had been 2 rapid accelerations and 2 incidents of hard braking. According to the report, the trip details had been provided by General Motors, the manufacturer of the Chevy Bolt. LexisNexis analyzed the driving data to create a risk score for insurers to use as one factor of many to create more personalized insurance coverage. Well, this is going to be going into a discussion that I'll be having tomorrow. Pretty chilling. GM's not alone. The Times found Honda, Kia, Hyundai. Well, Hyundai has kids making door panels, for crying out loud, at 2 o'clock in the morning, according to some of the reports last year. Companies now offer a bevy of internet-connected options for cars, and one of them is usually a Rate My Driving type app. My car is actually connected to the internet. It has the ability to receive signals from my app. So I wonder if my car, it's not listed on here, but anyway.
I imagine all cars are kind of in the mix here.
Yeah, I'm a little disgusted with this, but let me throw this into the chat. There you go. Now it's in this VOD, and it was on the last VOD too. But so I guess You better mind how you drive. It hasn't stopped idiots on the road to date since the pandemic. Horrible drivers are out there right now. So be careful. Let's keep going. This next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Baby owls sleep face down because their heads are too heavy. Adult owls, on the other hand, often sleep sitting upright. This is a Snopes article. Madison Dapsevich is the author of this. I titled this section, "Oh, that's why I sleep that way." Yeah, this is like a 5-year-old just plopping onto the floor.
That's
I can't
exactly what it looks like.
Yeah. Now I want those pictures of owls where you can see their legs.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They got nice gams. So it's a mixture. Some owl chicks in captivity have been observed sleeping face down, likely due to their living conditions or tiredness, as babies tend to be. Owl chicks hatch with the neck strength capable of cracking their eggshell and their ability to lift their heads for feeding, so it's unlikely that they couldn't hold their heads upright while sleeping. Now, they kind of give it away right at the beginning of this, but the article itself goes a little bit deeper into where it comes from and why this meme actually exists. Another internet favorite is the claim that baby owls sleep face down because their heads are too heavy, which was shared on Reddit in 2021. So don't trust Reddit. I don't know. Hold on one second. Sorry. All right. So I'm just going to throw this into the chat. Did you read something in there?
No, I sent a picture of an owl with legs.
Oh, right. Yeah. I wish I could post it, but I can't. I can't transfer it onto this screen, unfortunately. But yeah, you can do a search for owls have legs, and they're actually quite long. They're not little stubby things, There's like...
They're like the full length of their body almost.
Yeah. Buffalo Wild Wings has nothing on them. Yeah. But that's hilarious. Just, I can't even, and just face down. Thunk.
It's just great.
I love it. So go and read this article. You'll enjoy it. Let's keep going, though. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. NASA is hiring for astronauts. The selection manager explains how to make your resume stand out from the thousands of other applicants. Be an astronaut. NASA opens its applications for astronauts every 4 years. Since thousands apply, it can be difficult to stand out in a crowd. NASA's selection program manager explained what to include on your astronaut resume. Do I have a chance?
I mean, things that you didn't know were
Can
questions
Mayor
to
Watt...
ask.
Let's see if Mayor Watt can actually make it as an astronaut. The article is over at Business Insider by Jenny McGrath. That's what I look like. No, this is what I look like. My jaw is much more rounded than this. Anyway, I want their hair. Anyway, what do you think? What do you think is the thing that makes you stand out?
I don't think the application has anything to do with the photo.
Oh, really? I thought I had to be photogenic. Obviously not.
So let's see. Like, what are they looking for as a best candidate or something?
Yeah, it says every 4 years they receive...
Somebody who's not terrified of darkness or something.
Oh, right. Do you like enclosed spaces that have no oxygen? Yeah. Well, I'm terrified of everything that you just said. Well, then you're out. Sorry about that. Should have put that on your resume. Anyone can apply, and many will. 18,000 applicants every 4 years. Only 8 to 14 candidates make the cut. April Jordan, manager of NASA astronaut selection, there's a title, told Business Insider that that's an acceptance rate of less than 1% and probably greater than being a sports athlete in the NFL or NBA. Says at those odds, it's easier to get into Harvard or MIT. Every astronaut has to meet some minimum qualifications, like having a STEM or pilot background, and is able to complete the physical training requirements. So, basic astronaut qualifications. One of the first hurdles is to look at minimum qualifications for applicants. For example, candidates need a master's degree or to be at least 2 years into a PhD program in a STEM field. But that's not the same. Oh, I guess if you jump over into a PhD program from a bachelor's program.
Oh, I see. Right. Yeah.
But that would be the equivalent of a master's. You know, at least 2 years into a PhD program. Medical doctors and test pilot school graduates can also apply. Nice little carve out there.
Mm-hmm.
Not a good picture, but okay. So it says the pool is getting smaller and smaller as you go through each of these hurdles. The next step is getting to know the rating panel made up of current astronauts. They select roughly 120 of the most highly qualified people who are then interviewed, and that's when potential astronauts enter what Jordan calls the fishbowl. I don't understand. So the biggest hurdle is a master's degree or at least 2 years into a PhD program?
Right. Well, I mean, that eliminates a lot of people.
You think
But
with
I would
that
think
as
it
the
would be
minimum?
more specialized.
Yeah, but you think that 18,000 people are applying and there's only a few in there that just a fraction of them are the ones that have master's or PhD programs?
Oh,
Wouldn't
no,
it
no, no. I
automatically?
just meant in the general population. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, that I
Like,
understand.
all those people probably have that or
Right.
close to it.
Right.
There's probably some people that like don't have anything and they're just like, I want to be an astronaut.
I want to apply and I want to put that on my next resume that I applied to be an astronaut, even though they never will make the cut. So they select 120 of the most highly qualified people. Now I'm really curious about what the highly qualified part is that they're looking for. NASA invites a small pool of applicants to 2 rounds of interviews at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. So I guess you're going to have to be mobile. They're not going to Zoom call me, I suppose.
I guess they really want to make sure you want to do this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you sure you want to do this? You want to come to Florida? No, not really. All right.
Are you sure you really want to go to the moon or wherever?
Yeah. Wait,
Can
are
I
you
do
telling
that from
me
my sofa?
I have a telepresence robot? Can I put that on the shuttle?
There you go.
Yeah. Why did you apply if you don't want to come just down to Florida? Well, I was looking for a vacation. Let's see. You're in a little bit of a fishbowl with people paying attention to your behaviors during those simulations to assess how you might do in real life. So I guess if you're doing a simulation and you're screaming, "Oh my God, I can't breathe," you're going to be out. Yeah, they're just going to say, "No, sorry, you're raising the stress level for the rest of the astronauts." Like the commander walks into the simulation and says, "Can you keep the screaming down? You're scaring the others."
Right.
Since
That
astronauts...
reminds me of like Big Bang Theory's episodes about space.
Oh, yeah. Since astronauts might be living in close quarters for 6 to 12 months at a time, there are certain characteristics that NASA looks for in these simulations. Those include teamwork, the ability to function in high-pressure situations, and self-regulation. What? So, like, no spontaneous urination.
I'm not sure what the self-regulation is. I thought it might be not freaking out that you're in an enclosed space or something. I mean, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Go and watch Spaceman with Adam Sandler, where he talks to a space spider.
Oh boy.
Hundreds of data points on an applicant before we move to the final selection. We also stress that the selection board isn't looking for individual astronauts. They're putting together a team who will spend the next 2 years training together. Creating a cohesive team means selecting people with diverse backgrounds. It's also looking at how to do your life experiences make you look unique, or the way that you leverage those top competencies may be a little bit different than someone else in the team. But you have no idea how to it's still not really saying how you stand out. It's saying what their expectations are, but that's not how you stand out. You
Right.
basically stand out by being an astronaut level of character, right? I don't know. Do you really get to
Whatever that
know?
is.
Yeah, because I don't think people really get to know astronauts except for like John Glenn, and that's because he's had decades since his adventures that he's been talking to
Well, and
people.
there weren't any competing anything, right? We didn't
Yeah.
have competing TV channels. We didn't have streaming.
Yeah. It was the go-to thing, and
Right?
everybody was
Like it was
fascinated by
like
it.
the entertainment for the decade.
Yeah, interesting. So it says, for example, rock climbers and hikers are used to carrying everything they need in a small backpack. She said that might be useful since you didn't get to bring a lot of luggage with you to space. So this is the point where they're actually talking about it. There's no such thing as a typical astronaut. So now they're talking about the little bits that might make you stand out. I'd put on there that I'm a big fan of Dune and I have no problem peeing in a wetsuit, and that's akin to a still suit or a space suit. Not a big deal,
Hey, they might make it into the interview with that.
right? Um, and I know how to fly an ornithopter. Oh wait, they're not talking about landing on Dune, so I don't know if I want to do this gig. Yeah, maybe not. Anyway, follow the link. It's in the show notes and it's over in the VOD right here. This show will be posted over on YouTube when we get done with it. But for now, stick around. If you're swinging by, follow us here. You'll be told about the next episode. We do this show every day at 8, and then on Saturday and Sunday we do it at 6. Because we have 2 other shows that follow on the weekends on Saturday and Sunday. So for a total of 3 shows Saturday and 3 shows Sunday.
And we will be announcing some more shows.
That's right.
At an upcoming date.
Yep, next weekend, and then the weekend after that is when we kick off another weekend show. So let's keep going though. The next article is over in the Law Nerd channel, and that is verification lawsuit may force Banksy to drop the mask. I'm really curious about this. I didn't read the article, and we typically don't, but we have some experience. Particularly even Banksy, like we've seen Banksy art. So will the real Banksy please stand up? This is an article from Above the Law, and they usually have my style of writing, so I really like reading them. But AboveTheLaw.com is the source of this, and Chris Williams, not that Chris Williams, is the author of this article. I don't think it's that Chris Williams. Anyway. So at one point, discovering the identity of Banksy may have been $1 million question. Now it could hinge on a painting valued at around $90,000. So this is from The Guardian, but it's been posted here via AboveTheLaw.com. 2 art collectors are taking legal action against Banksy's company, Pest Control, following its apparent refusal to confirm the authenticity of Monkey Queen. After 3 years of trying to get an answer, Nikki Katz and Ray House have lost patience and are suing Pest Control for breach of contract. They point to Pest Control's website, which states that it will issue a certificate of authenticity for paintings, prints, sculptures, and other attempts at creativity. It likens the certificate to a MOT for the art world, so it's a authenticity. It means that you can buy, sell, or insure a piece of art knowing it's legitimate, and the wheels won't fall off. So this is the
I wonder why the company won't authenticate this, and why does that have to do with Banksy's identity?
Yeah, see, so it says Pest Control hasn't responded to their authenticity process. Sorry, Pest Control has responded that their authentication process is robust and thorough, presumably as an explanation for why verification has taken so long. But it really shouldn't be that difficult to give the yay or nay on it if the work is bona fide. But so whatever is going on here, why would it take 3 years?
I don't
So,
know. Do you want to see what the picture is of the
yeah,
artwork?
like I gotta click that though, right?
Yeah.
Um, hold on. I don't know.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's see. Um, yeah, here, this is what it looks like. 1 second, folks. Production value. Da-dun.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, the whole issue here, I guess, is that Banksy would have to show up.
Would they though? Why couldn't they go through an attorney saying that this has been authenticated by way of blah blah blah, or send an agent that can say that it has the provenance that's according to? Um, so where did this actually come from? Should the art collectors get a day in court before a verification certificate that has a typo? It is anyone's guess who will show up as Banksy. So yeah, if they have to verify that the person is Banksy, then all you have to do is send an assigned. You don't have to be the person. You can say, yes, that is mine, or give somebody some type of data that will allow them to qualify and quantify, authenticate this thing, or take it into a chamber where only certain people will get to know who Banksy really is. Because you can't have a company in a vacuum and not know who the, you
Well,
know,
that's the thing, right? Although you could have like an registered
intermediary
agent or
attorneys.
something, yeah.
Yeah. But at some point, you know who the principal is. Even by proxy, somebody knows who Banksy is. I mean, this is kind of heavy handed, but they want to know that this particular item that they purchased is legit. But where did they get it from? And why wasn't provenance started at that point prior to sale? Should have been made then. I don't know. You could probably verify, just like other paintings, you
Well,
know?
and how do they verify the other ones? Like, what's
Yeah.
causing a problem with this?
Yeah. Why is a painting from a master's level, one of the great works,
Right, right.
verifiable hundreds of years later, yet a Banksy can't be verified? Give me a break. Something's
Seems
not
like
right
there's
here.
more to this. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So it says pest control should just do its job and hand out the cert, but it would be a missed opportunity to not get all of the suspected Banksies in a courtroom pointing at each other before all of this is over. Yeah, that might be what it's all about. Trying to pull Banksy and removing the shroud of anonymity. So, I don't know. I don't like these shenanigans. But then again, if I bought something and I want to verify its provenance, and they say that they have the ability to issue a certificate of
Exactly.
authenticity, they open the door for this themselves. Yeah, either do this or shut up. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Investigation gold standard of evidence turned to pyrite by Colorado crime lab employee. Law enforcement investigators and prosecutors have overwhelmingly embraced plenty of pseudoscience over the years, treating everything from bite marks to hair samples as conclusive evidence capable of singling out guilty parties. Most crimes were specious. Backed by expert statements from law enforcement, crime lab employees solely interested in confirming prevailing law enforcement theories, and that's when things are on the up and up. In multiple cases, forensic scientists and other crime lab employees have faked tests and falsified evidence to cover up everything from laziness to their own illegal, it says, drug habits.
You
That has to be
know,
drug.
never mind that people's lives are on the line here.
No, sociopaths. So this is written by Tim Cushing, but it comes from the looks like law enforcement can't be trusted to handle evidence department.
That
Yeah.
is not the name of the department, though. But
No,
I
they
love
have,
how they do this. Tech
yeah,
Dirt always has a good,
yeah.
I don't know what it is, byline.
Yeah, I like it. Hey, check your audio, please. So, DNA has long been considered the evidence no one can question, but it's far from fallible. It's far from fallible? Shouldn't that be infallible? Okay. DNA indicates little more than something exists where the people exist. DNA is prone to cross-contamination, something that led law enforcement in years-long pursuit of a non-existent serial killer, which we've actually talked about in our show in previous years. So we've been doing the show since 2020. So,
And I do think that should be infallible. That doesn't make sense as fallible. But I was in a reboot.
2022. Started the show in 2022. Right? Or 2021. When did I start the damn show? I totally forgot. This is season 3, so this is the beginning of the
2021.
Damn it. Math is hard. Anyway, we were talking about this because the DNA that they kept finding at the crime scene was the person who was doing the quality control for the cotton swabs that were used in the forensic analysis process. Yeah. So they were found guilty and deleted from the planet after 65 murders were pinned on them. That's not true. But anyway, multiple factors like DNA far less reliable than it portrayed in popular media. DNA can be taken from one scene and deposited at another. Exclusion focus tests can result in false positives simply by deciding the most common DNA at the scene is an indicator of guilt. Yes. So then there's things like this. As Emma Tucker and Andy Babineau report on CNN, a now former forensic scientist with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation manipulated or omitted DNA test results in hundreds of cases an internal affairs investigation found, which prompted a full review of her work during her nearly 30-year career at the agency.
I mean, how do you even work backward from all of that?
The CBI released the findings of the investigation into Yvonne Missy Woods on Friday, which concluded Woods' handling of DNA testing data affected 652 cases between 2008 and 2023, including posting incomplete results in some cases. A review of her work from 1994 to 2008 is also underway, according to the CBI. This discovery puts all of her work in question, and CBI is in the process of reviewing all of her previous work for data manipulation to ensure the integrity of all CBI laboratory results. CBI brought in third-party investigative resources to protect the integrity of the inquiry. So,
this is just not good.
So the agency said that its forensics team discovered Woods' deleted and altered data that served to conceal evidence of her tampering, as well as her failure to quote-unquote troubleshoot issues within the testing process. The agency said Woods' manipulation appeared to have been the result of intentional conduct. Woods' attorney also claimed that she'd never testified falsely in any hearing or trial that resulted in a false conviction or wrongful imprisonment. And sure, this could possibly be true, but if the state's Bureau of Investigation has already found 15 years of wrongdoing and it's currently digging through another 15 years, the only way this assertion could be considered true at this point is if Woods never offered testimony during criminal proceedings. Indeed. Because if what they're saying is what if what they are saying is what they wrote down in a report and they falsified the records, the only way to know for sure would be to retest the forensic information, and that has to be assumed compromised by the very person reporting it incorrectly, falsely. I don't know.
I mean, what I can't really figure out here is there's a lot of people, I think, that get involved in a given DNA test, reporting the results. Like, at some point, didn't something fall apart, or didn't somebody notice that this person was doing odd things with the evidence or whatever? Like, how did the rest of the lab operate around this person and not pick up on something?
They're the apex predator, so there wasn't anybody watching the watchers, right?
Yeah.
So they were the one that reported the evidence and they were the subject matter expert. So you have to assume that they're providing valid information. But unless you need a team of two people that are actually polar opposites in terms of ethics. And so they don't like each other. They won't collaborate with each other. They won't conspire to falsely incriminate somebody. And they both have to be of upstanding moral conviction so that they'll turn each other in should one try and abuse. You need the minority report, basically. You need three people always watching each other. I guess forensic cases are going to get a little bit more expensive. Boulder District Attorney Michael Doherty told CNN in a statement his office has identified 15 open cases and 55 closed cases in which Wood had testified as a witness. So, guess who's getting their appeals? Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be, like, how many years is this going to take to unwind all of this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Talk about trying to unscrew a light bulb. My God, this is people's lives. If they've been incarcerated, they could have been incarcerated for up to 30 years, depending on...
Exactly.
Yeah. It's disgusting. Okay, well, let me throw this into the VOD, and it'll be in the show notes, like always. Let's keep moving. This next article is over in ohmTown Daily. It's hard to use printers to build houses. The startup says it's found a solution by creating a 3D printed home starter kit. Love this. I think they're actually going to be referring to the company called Icon, which is pretty much, I would say, the most prominent in terms of marketing and awareness. Icon is the one that I know about. The article's over at Business Insider. I'm a huge proponent of 3D printed houses. I think they are the go-to. They're much more stable. They're not going to get blown over in a hurricane. They are essentially waterproof. Although, well, it depends on the mill, and you can always paint these and seal them again and again. Just, they're so much superior to, twig houses. So Brittany Chang over at BusinessInsider.com.
Well, most things are.
I'm sorry?
I said most things are.
Yeah. The Three Little Pigs. The house that survived was the 3D printed house. They need to update that so that the Three Little Pigs is a 3D printed house.
Oh, there you go. That would be a good
house.
Modern retelling.
That's right. So on Tuesday, construction tech startup Icon, which has been around for, at least in my regard, a long time, announced a collection of new 3D printing tech, a multi-story. This is the beauty. A multi-story printer. It's always been a problem to get multi-story because they print one level and then they don't know what the hell to do with that next floor or whatever.
Exactly. I'm not sure why that's been such a challenge, but
now they're also announcing a low carbon concrete printing mix. That has always been a problem. I actually have a product that I would like to launch, but I have a carbon footprint problem, and changing the product would fundamentally change the nature of changing the mill of my product would change the product itself, and it wouldn't be as appealing. So having a low carbon concrete mix means that it's not off-gassing, and it's not causing global warming, because concrete actually it off-gasses and emits carbon. And it says a digital catalog of home designs and an AI home designer. So basically, you're going to be able to go, here's my plot of land, this is my budget, this is what I want it to look like, and oh look, here it is in your catalog. And then you basically just get it delivered. That would be neat.
Do you think you could buy it online?
The plan, probably. The contract, I would like to think that we're going to get to that point, but
I hope it doesn't have a buy it now function.
Let's find out. So, let's see. But amid the quest,
the actual house.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll put it on an Apple Card or something like that, right? That's easy. Just tell Siri. On Tuesday, Icon announced 4 products. We just talked about them. It says, but amid this quest to alleviate the U.S. housing crisis, the nascent 3D printing construction industry has continued to face major roadblocks. It's usually policy, building code, not catching up with the 21st century, and being very protective. So they don't want to phase out the building industry that hires a lot of people and there's a lot of money involved. So
That's right. I mean, that's probably who's really against this.
yeah, I don't know. I see it moving the needle as time goes on, but I know from experience that I had invented a product that I think was rather revolutionary, but building code wouldn't allow it to be the primary thing. And so it basically just sat there and died because the goal was to eliminate drywall. But drywall has a very profound purpose, which is to slow the spread of flames. Doesn't stop it, but it slows it so that an emergency response can take place and people can get out. Well, anyway, so if you languish because of building code and policy, then obviously you have to weather that storm financially until the industry grows up. Well, I guess that's what's happening with this. So, University of Maine's Advanced Structures and Composite Center 3D printed a bio-based tiny home in 2022. In the last few years, startups and even colleges have unveiled 3D printed dwellings around the U.S. I love the idea of this. But Icon in Texas, Icon is now working with a construction giant, Lennar, which is a very large builder, to build.
Okay, so that's an interesting development because, no pun intended, because I don't think we've really seen the traditional home builders in this space. So maybe this will pave the way for others to do it.
Yeah, it would be like Lennar doing semi-custom tiny homes in mass. That would be amazing too. So startups like these say robotic 3D printers could alleviate the US's ongoing housing crisis, and it's because you set it and forget it. You just need a team of like 4 people to come by and make sure everything is standing upright each night. Whereas, the twig and nail builder has to sit there and have a team of 12 people running around, and then the electricians come, and then the plumber comes, and then the HVAC person comes and puts a pipe in the wrong spot, forcing my plans to be
Because
reorganized.
it's a Friday afternoon.
Oh, right. Yeah, that too. Yeah. Oh, and don't worry about backfilling properly in that driveway. You don't need to actually get into your garage. Asshat. Anyway, on the latter note, most construction printers extrude a cement mix. However, the concrete is far from being environmentally friendly. But a solution to some of these issues is now in sight, Texas-based Icon says, thanks to its new group of products. So I'm more interested in the multi-level, and look at that beast. Phoenix is set to be able to print buildings up to 27 feet tall. Icon says the tech's prototype, pictured above, printed a building of this height in 400 hours. So yeah, roughly, 8 days, something like that.
Does it run around the clock or only when it's under supervision, like during the day?
Wait, 10 days would be 240 hours. So
that only around the clock, though.
Yeah.
It could take quite a while at 8 hours at a stretch.
Yeah. But not 6 months. I mean, it
would be 10 weeks if it's only like 8 to 5 or whatever.
Yeah, I don't like.
But again, we don't know how much it runs. I mean,
yeah, we don't know. Yeah. I mean, 27 feet tall and one contiguous building, for crying out loud. But how big is this actual thing? So let's find out. Maybe they actually have it. Let's see. The printing process would then cut the construction time, the number of excess materials, the workers, subsequently, and costs, obviously. 30% less expensive than conventional home building methods. Regarding speed, he said the timeline for completing a home's printed elements would be twice as fast as traditional construction. So, yeah. And it can be more exotic. the inner walls can be constructed with a different design pattern than this. The outer walls can have more aesthetics embedded into it. I mean, look at this weave of the cement. It's just amazing. I think that it's spectacular. You can't do that kind of stuff with, the old style. So yeah, that's so cool. To address this, Icon says it's created a low carbon concrete printing material. Like other cement mixes made for 3D printers, Carbonex would still be fireproof, mold proof, insect proof. It would be waterproof with sealing, but cement, it is very, very slow rate of, or very, very low rate of infiltration of water, and typically wouldn't actually ever make it unless there's something wrong with the mill. The formula, and that's why they put a sealant below grade so that water can't infiltrate against the cement. So the formula would be available to other home builders in April, with more environmentally friendly mixes already in Icon's pipeline. Unlike the cement mix, the average Joe could use Icon's third new product, Codex. It says, Codex is a digital catalog of ready-to-print home architecture. The design, pictured in a rendering by Big Bark Ingalls Group, is part of the Fire Resilient collection, which cement pretty much is.
Right. I mean, who's going to pick from the non-fire resilient collection?
Can I order a discount house from the Kindling line?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the database has more than 60 homes separated into 5 categories: Texas Modern, Fire Resilient, Storm Resilient, Affordable, and Avant-Garde.
You can't have all of those, so
yeah, I want it all.
You gotta plan ahead. What climate disasters are you gonna have?
So the first 6 builds in the upcoming 100-home neighborhood were listed between $476,000 and $566,000. We would have to look at this to see what the size of these houses are, if that actually makes sense. But some of the units could be built for $99,000, which is very affordable depending on what it is. I don't know. I dig this. Well, there's more over at this article, but let's keep on trucking through our news. We've got 3 more articles to go through. Off we go. The next article is over in the Mobile Channel. I had to get to this one. It's so exciting. Rare rabbit could be at risk in North Carolina, and scientists are rushing to collect its poop. Sorry, I had to connect with the AI just now. Didn't see this one coming, did you? Researchers in North Carolina involving rabbit poop could help protect a vulnerable species in the state, wildlife officials said. Oh, wait.
This is not the normal headline.
No, but on Mars, if there were rabbits, you could use their little poops to make little potatoes. Little potatoes.
Yep.
Makaya Seminara from the Charlotte Observer put the article together, but it's posted over at phys.org, which is one of our sources that we aggregate. An elusive rabbit known as the Appalachian cottontail.
And that's a pretty cute rabbit.
I am fighting the urge to say that was the AI's nickname in college, but you're an AI from the future, and I can't say that. So an elusive rabbit known as the Appalachian cottontail faces several dangers to its survival, ranging from interbreeding to disease in North Carolina, according to a March 8th North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission news release. That was one long sentence. But scientists are working to learn more about the species, namely through its scat. Yeah, poo, to try to protect it. Yep. It's a bit nutty. Not much is known about the Appalachian cottontail, one of the 3 native rabbit species in North Carolina. It's found from northern Alabama to central Pennsylvania. Okay. including the western counties of North Carolina. Why are you focusing on Northern Carolina? Appalachian
Because the
cottontails.
article's from North Carolina.
Yeah, I know, but okay. But they keep on saying North Carolina, North Carolina. We get it. Come
They're
on.
trying to connect with their readers.
Oh, okay. Wow. So Appalachian cottontails are easily confused with more common eastern cottontail in North Carolina, according to the commission. Despite being slightly smaller, than the eastern cottontails, Appalachian cottontails weren't recognized as their own species until 1992. So come on, let's get to the poo. That's what we're here to investigate. Development has become a big issue in the mountains. Hybridization isn't the only result of habitat loss. Disease also threatens the species. They have hemorrhagic disease, virus type 2. Gave the commission immediate concern about the future of the Appalachian cottontail, Shipley said. The disease causes internal bleeding and death. Let's see. Yeah, they talk about it, but I guess they say gathering scat helps the collection of DNA as animals shed skin cells when they poop. That's Shipley says, the investigator. By analyzing the poop in a laboratory, scientists can get a better idea of the species' genetic diversity and update their predictive maps of where the cottontails are in North Carolina.
How would you like to be the poop collector?
How about
who do you think gets that job in the lab or whatever?
Interns. Chief poop investigator. Yeah, just don't hand them their favorite gloves when they ask. That's a mistake. All right. Let's see. Let's keep going. This next one involves another animal. This one's over in Law Nerd. Stoner rats eating all the drugs and police evidence lockup. So remember that forensic lab?
Yeah.
This is kind of worse.
This might be an improvement over it.
It's not just Mickey's voice that's high. I love Above the Law. You all have to go there and just pay them attention. I told you that on the flight that I was on, the most recent flight that I was on, the person that I saw had a document that said confidential stamped across it.
Yeah.
Also showed their wife above the law. Yeah. They lifted the laptop up over the stuff that was between them, and you could see the confidential document, and you could see above the law, and they were like giggling about the thing. And I'm like, I read that article. I didn't say anything to them, but yeah, I was pretty shocked. They had to have been attorneys, but anyway. So stoner rats eating all of the drugs and police evidence lockup. Joe Patrice over at Above the Law put the article together, and it says the latest victims or beneficiaries of the war on drugs are the rodents of the city of New Orleans. Really? That was in New Orleans. That's hilarious. As it happens, rats have broken into NOPD's evidence lockup and have started getting high. And then they play a little scenario with Pinky and the Brain. Gee, Brain, what are we going to do tonight? The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Get absolutely spaced on the primo shit down at the station. It only makes sense if you know who Pinky and the Brain is. So the Brain is a genetically enhanced experimental mouse, and is
okay. Well,
brilliant.
Then that fits.
And Pinky is a regular old experimental mouse that nothing has been done with, apparently. But yeah, the Brain is a genius, and Pinky is the opposite. So this revelation comes from the police chief, Ann Kirkpatrick, speaking at a committee requesting approval for a new office lease.
Okay, what do you think the reaction was after the statement was thrown in there, like in a budget meeting?
So for those of you who aren't watching, there's a YouTube video And it talks about rats eating marijuana, broken AC, apparently roaches, but the little snippet is just so perfect. They're all high. So meanwhile, anyone facing drug possession charges in New Orleans might want to challenge the chain of custody because of if Remy's started making edibles out of key evidence, the jury shouldn't be able to rely on that. Yeah. So, and then they say if the defendants are really bold, move to delay the proceedings as long as possible, in the hopes that burnouts of the secrets of NIM. The burnouts of NIM. If you've never seen the movie Secrets of NIM, it's about mice and rats. And anyway, they eat the whole supply before the trial. This, Joe Patrice, you hit it out of the park with this. I love this because it makes references.
I mean, I guess this one had to have gotten approved, right? They're like, we need a new building. Why? Because all the rats are high.
And they're eating our freaking evidence lockup. Come on. This has to be a particularly spicy species of rat, too, because why would they go in there and just eat the drugs? It's marijuana, so, I mean, they wouldn't know. But
they're probably just eating whatever they're encountering.
I can imagine the next morning, there's like rats sitting around a big old bag of pretzels, and they're like, we're good. No, just let us sit here.
I was thinking there might be like rats like just kind of passed out on the floor in the evidence room or something.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And then they start talking. Anybody got any pretzels? Or like, I could really eat a burrito right now, you know? Last article for tonight is in Technology Today. Why We Wait, the Science of Procrastination. So I titled, this segment is actually titled, I waited until the end for this article.
Right, we wouldn't want to do this one too early.
Do this too early, yeah. Study finds a lean toward negative attitude predicts procrastination. A study finds a lean toward negative attitude predicts procrastination? Putting off a burdensome task may seem like a universal trait, but new research suggests something specific. So let's go look at the actual source. Ohio State University put this article together. It's published over at SciTech Daily. Everything okay over there, AI?
Yes.
Okay. So it says, new research suggests that people whose negative attitudes tend to dictate their behavior in a range of situations are more likely to delay tackling the task at hand. So if you have a negative attitude and you procrastinate, you might have like a twofer of per performance. The psychological term to describe this mental process is called valence weighting bias, which describes people's tendency to adapt to new circumstances by drawing more strongly from either their positive or negative attitudes, or, in the context of approaching an unpleasant task, whether negative or positive internal signals carry the most weight in guiding the final behavior.
So is that related to the task or in general? I think what it's saying is if their overall attitude is negative.
Yeah, if you have an overall negative attitude, then... Sorry, I'm just checking something. If you have an overall negative attitude, then when you have something going on that you have to address, if the outcome is, what do you call it? Unpleasant. If the task itself is unpleasant,
okay,
you'll procrastinate. But if the internal signal for a positive result, and hence it's not an unpleasant task, you'll probably end up doing it sooner than later. Sorry, I'm just checking something.
I've never seen this. I mean, I've probably procrastinated from reading about procrastination, but...
Yeah, so in a series of studies, Fazio and first author Javier Granado Samoya Samayoa.
Samayoya, maybe?
Samayoa? Okay. A former Ohio State grad student found links between a more negative leaning attitude and procrastination. They found it possible to shift the weighting bias of strong procrastinators towards neutrality and reverse their tendency to delay a task. Probably by making it a more approachable problem, right?
Right.
Yeah, they're seeing how valence weighting bias shapes which route people take. The research was published recently in the journal Personality and Individual Differences. They did a tax return study. The idea is that people, at least for a brief moment, are asking the question, do I want to do this now? And there are really positive and negative signals. I certainly don't want to do that. It's an aversive task. That's a negative signal, but there's also a positive signal. I've got to get it done, and I feel good if I do it right. So a sample of 232 participants reported that they routinely filed returns early or late during tax season. With the data in hand, Fazio and Granato Samayoa? I'm sorry. Used a research tool to gauge the extent to which participants weighted positive or negative signals more strongly when encountering something new. But if they're familiar with doing it, it's not new. But okay.
Exactly. And I'm thinking a lot of things that get procrastinated are not new things, right?
Right.
They use the tax return example. Most people have filed a tax return previously, and maybe they didn't enjoy it. But it's not like they're suddenly encountering a tax return and then thinking, oh, this is awful.
Yeah. So exploring negative weighting bias further, the second study involves 147 students in a program allowing them to accumulate course credit in exchange for participating in research. In addition to gauging the students' weighting bias, as in weight, not waiting as in delay.
That's interesting with procrastination.
Yeah, exactly. The study explored whether students' measures of self-control influenced task-related behavior. How did students characterize their level of motivation or capacity to mull over their initial thoughts about the research program, and did that affect whether students got an early start on research participation or put it off? Results showed that the combination of negative weighting bias and self-reported low motivation or emotional energy for effective self-control was linked to students putting off research program participation by getting started later in the semester. So those, again, with negative weighting bias would just put it off. So if you're a negative person, there's a better chance or a bigger chance that you're going to be a procrastinator because you don't want to do new things. And it's it becomes a negative bias. So yeah, their conclusion is negative weighting bias can have a positive effect on behavior too. These researchers have also found evidence that a negative weighting bias may help people be more realistic about when they're asking themselves, for example, have I studied enough for this test? A positive weighting bias may lead people to convince themselves that they're ready when they're not. So it's like a survival trait. Can I go eat that lion, or will the lion eat me? A positive bias is overconfidence, and a negative bias is I don't think I'm ready. So it's better to be more objectively balanced than to be at either extreme. So naturally, yeah, that's pretty interesting. How do people wake up and go, yeah, you know what? I'm going to study procrastination.
I guess they have a positive weighting bias.
There you go. They'll
because
charge
otherwise they would have never gone to the study.
Yep, they'll charge into any situation and study it.
By the way, did you notice 2 references to Ohio State University on here?
The Ohio State?
It does not say the.
Oh, really? It just says Ohio State?
Oh, it does there, but it didn't up in the deck statement and somewhere else in the article.
Where does this one say it? Sorry, I'm missing it. Oh, yeah, look, capital letter, the Ohio State University. Look at that. Wow. Where was the other one? Do you remember?
Yeah, go scroll up.
Oh, I mean up here?
Right there, it says Ohio State University.
Oh, that might just be a topic tag. Yeah, it's just a tag. Oh, here it says Ohio State. The byline says
Oh,
Ohio State.
right. Sorry, that's where I saw it when I was looking.
Yeah, it's not the Ohio State University.
They're undermining their own, what is it, a trademark?
That's right. Oh, they've just invalidated their own trademark. That's okay. That's not our job. Outside our swim lane, we just talk about the news. So let's get back into the party bus and go back down to Main Street. I would sit there and click that right now, but man, the last article already got me in, or the last show got me in trouble. So that's it for today. I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmTown.com. And up there is the sentient AI that's saying, no, it's the sentient AI is waving me off. I need to land somewhere else. Out of here. Go, go. Save yourself.
That's right. Good night, ohmTown citizens. We will see you tomorrow at about 8 p.m. Eastern.
Unless my browser cracked. You know, when you say that, you end that in such a way that I think you're about to finish a sentence, but you just kind of truncate it. Finish your sentence.